listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. I am your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Man, I have just been enjoying the three-point show over in Waco. Texas Tech going into halftime. Now it's 64-42, 64-44 right now. So Tech's up by 20 still, about 5 minutes into the second half. But going into halftime, Texas Tech men's basketball had made 14 three-pointers in the first half. Atwell was 7 for 9. Anderson was 6 for 7. Brian was 1 of 1. 74% shooting from beyond the arc going into half.
Now, is it a program high of 17 or just a season high of 17 made threes?
I kind of think it's a program high because they matched it at least once this season, maybe twice. And so I'm sure they're trying to go for the record. And the fact that they have the chance to do it on the road is pretty impressive. But unfortunately, I don't have the game on right now. I'm only watching it on stat broadcast because I do not trust my bandwidth back here. I don't want to ruin the recording since it's streaming on the Peacock. But anyway, I've enjoyed the Peacock broadcast. I know you said you didn't have that streamer currently, but King McClure is on it. King McClure is on it now, and I know some people kind of have a love-hate with him. I like him. I think he's pretty good. He comes up with a lot of interesting aspects being a former player, and he's pretty quick on analyzing some of this stuff too. But apparently he made the jump from ESPN over to NBC, Universal, Comcast, General Electric, whatever it is. So that I didn't know that until I heard him on the call tonight.
Yeah, at 13-13 left, it's a media timeout. Texas Tech leads 68-46. So with 13 minutes of game time plus, you've got to hit 3 more threes to set a new season record.
Yeah, so apparently
in the game.
Yeah, so let's see. Somebody made one. Petty must have made one since halftime.
He's 1 of 4 now.
25%. He's ice cold. Ice cold on this team tonight.
We'll get into this game and recap a little bit the BYU game that happened on Saturday. Really do a full attention turn towards basketball now. Now that college football is officially over. National title game was last night. We'll talk about that game a little bit, and just bask in the twilight zone that is Indiana as your national championship winning team, 2 years removed from going 3-9, running onto the field with their name, state name, university name misspelled on their jersey, and then going a perfect 16-0 this year. They were 11-2 last year. Mendoza looked human last night. Until last night, he'd only thrown 5 incompletions.
Did you see the last time a college football team went 16-0?
No.
1894.
Wow.
Doesn't happen very often.
So we'll do a brief recap on that. We got the final AP top 25 poll that came out. Texas Tech finished top 10. An interesting tidbit I was sent or was shared with me on Discord from our friend Froggy about Carson Beck. Quick update on the transfer portal, because since we last recorded, Texas Tech has added 3 more players, and a couple of your transfers out have committed places. A quick whip around the Big 12. I'm not going to read every commit to every school. Some of these schools have 48, 32, 30, 25, 28, 26, 44 transfer portal ads. I'm not going through all the names. I'm going to add, talk about a couple of their top guys if there are noteworthy. We'll talk round ball, basketball. Texas Tech playing tonight, currently up 69-46. Hit a free throw since we last gave an update. Recap quickly the BYU game that was on Saturday, and what this team is doing. And I guess last Wednesday's game versus Utah, because that happened after we recorded. Again, just briefly, women, the Lady Raiders, they did fall their first game of the season. They did lose their first game of the season. And then because there was an update in preseason rankings for softball, just share some news and lists that have been released. We did talk a little bit about the schedule last time, so I don't know how much we can go into it. I just think it's funny to me, or interesting to me, to look at the Lady Raiders. The softball schedule. One, they start a week earlier than the baseball team, but by the time the baseball team finishes their first 3 games, the softball team will have played 10. They play 1 week earlier. They start 1 week earlier, but will have played 10 games by the time that Texas Tech goes final on game 3. The baseball team goes final on game 3. NFL playoffs, we're down to the conference championship games, getting that much closer to knowing the Super Bowl teams, and a jam-packed what do we learn? So we got lots to cover. Let's go back to the national title game, because that's most recent final game that we've mentioned we're going to talk about. Miami ends up winning 27-21. Remind everybody, I'm sure those that were betting know this. It was a 7.5 point line. Miami covers at 6. The CFB graphs matchup had the game at a 26-24 spread. So
Ooh.
even they were pretty close too. And that would have hit almost right on had Miami not doinked a field goal attempt. So give a little credence to that tool, that matchup predictor. It's still so strange to talk about. I mean, it's only been 24 hours, but Indiana as your national champions, because they have been so bad. Being bowl eligible was a big deal to them. I don't remember the exact stat, but it had been either a really, really long time, like some ridiculous number of years since they last won a bowl game, until this year. Obviously, last year they made the playoffs, but they were eliminated in the first round. So that in of itself is a great accomplishment coming from that program. But I mean, I mentioned it, like they ran out onto the field. This is like their first road game of the season for 2023. The front of their jerseys were literally misspelled. Like they were down so bad. They couldn't even get the name spelled right. They couldn't get that fixed or addressed. And now they are 16-0, reloading with number 2 transfer portal class. As of right now, they're going to get a couple extra days to shift and readdress their roster since they played in the national title game. So yeah, man, what were your thoughts from the game last night?
I didn't realize. I was kind of looking into what you just mentioned about the bowl games for Indiana. So to give some context, until Cignetti got there, they had only been to 13 bowl games, period, since 1967. And of those games, of the 13, they only won 3. And their last win was in 1991 against Baylor in the Copper Bowl. They won 24-0.
So they hadn't won a bowl game for 35 years
Yes.
until this season
Till
when they
this
won the
season where
national title.
They won 3. They won 3 really big ones.
That's unbelievable. Cignetti's I don't even know, man. It's going to be something that's going to be talked about for forever.
Yeah, I mean, what a run! What an unbelievable run for this guy. Did he get lightning in a bottle? I don't know. I do think that a vast majority of what happened, he had a direct hand in, and he could very well do it again with a different roster, with different guys. There's no telling, but man, I've been enthralled with this. I'm trying not to fanboy out on him too much because I hope that Tech gets the chance to play him. And I'm not, there aren't sound bites of me like talking about how great he is too much. But man, what a turnaround. Just, I was kind of rooting for them a little bit. Couldn't help it. I did appreciate how much their fans traveled, how they completely filled the Peach Bowl pretty much. Oregon was just, they were there, but they were definitely not near the presence that Indiana and their alumni were in Atlanta. It was a little bit more even in Miami, which it darn well should be because you're in Miami, but still they traveled super well. Their basketball stadium was packed back home in Bloomington to watch the game. I mean, there's been jokes about, there's some of these guys didn't even know they had a football team till 3 weeks ago. I'm like, well, do you blame them? I mean, what do you expect them to do? Spencer they were 3-9 a few years ago. They've won 3 bowl games since we landed on the moon. I mean, what do you expect them to? I don't know what you want from these people, but I bet you they're all in right now. I don't think it's going to be too hard to sell season tickets next year and for the foreseeable future. And anyway, the game itself. Let's get back to the game. The game itself was really great. It kept looking like Indiana was going to run off with it, but Miami just kept battling back. And I forgot how good of receivers they have as well, and running backs. And their defense they were rattling Mendoza, which is, I don't know if he's really experienced this season. He definitely hasn't this postseason, and really getting to him. Some of them little questionable on some of the hits there, but
well,
he battled through it, and they weren't calling it. So if they're not calling it, then it's not illegal, right? So keep doing it.
Surely I wasn't the only one that recognized that was a Big 12 officiating crew in that game last night, right?
Yeah, white hat sure looked familiar.
Yeah, you mentioned Mendoza looking a little more human against the Miami defense. Went 16 of 27, so he had 11 incompletions. I mentioned in the games leading up, he'd only thrown 5. We talked about that last week. He had 5 incompletions to 8 touchdowns. He added 11 more incompletions to that. So, he finished the playoff run with 16 incompletions to 8 touchdowns. He did not throw a touchdown last night, but did run one in.
Yeah, how about that run?
It's
like
incredible. Apparently they had just installed in the time between the last 2 games the quarterback draw. It's like, you didn't have that in your offense?
Well, yes. I mean, Cignetti mentioned that in the post-game interview, just like right after the game. I was shocked by that, and that he was so transparent too. And why not? Your cards are on the table. Season's over. Sure, yeah, we didn't really have that installed. We saw how they block it a certain way, and we thought we could take advantage of that, and so we did it. And that was what you mentioned in last week, is just how people have noticed they will watch your team and figure out how to break them. And they did it again. And something that did surprise me, though, is I really thought Indiana was going to get more pressure on Beck, and kind of the opposite happened. I should have known that Miami would get more pressure on Mendoza, but I think Beck was only sacked once, and it seemed like he had days back there to throw the whole game. But I feel like that was the game plan. I think they knew that he was going to make a mistake at some point. I just kind of quoted, I spouted off in the Discord right before that last drive. I was like, I wonder if Cignetti and the guys are just getting him too confident leading into a situation like this, to where he feels like he's got all day and he can just make the perfect throw, and then he ends the game on an interception.
Yeah,
essentially ends it. There are a handful of plays after, but it was over.
I think they nailed it out twice after that. To that point, I saw I saw this meme on Twitter or X this morning, about Carson Beck throwing for a game-winning touchdown, but it was a video clip of that St. Louis Cardinal shortstop fielding a ground ball and firing over to first base, only to nail the first base umpire in the back of the head. And not that the throw from Beck was bad. Like it should have been further upfield for sure. And that coverage, you don't want to definitely underthrow that.
Yeah, we know a little bit about underthrown balls to that corner of the end zone in a playoff game. You don't want to do that.
It's bad news. But Froggy pointed this out. Carson Beck lost 6 games in his collegiate career. One, that's a ridiculous number. That's like almost unbelievable. In 4 of those 6 losses, Michael, it ended, their last offensive play was a Carson Beck interception. So 67% of the time, it's because Carson Beck threw an interception. He cost his team to win.
I would almost bet that Cignetti's staff knew that. They probably had that exact stat in their meetings. We're like, yeah, we're just going to rush 3 all game.
And we'll sit back in a game-winning situation.
We'll see what to us. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So the other thing before we talk about the final AP poll, this came out. This was released just before we hit record. Big 12 title game is moving up a day to Friday night that first week in December. So in 2026, it will be the 4th. But to do that, they're going to get the evening slot now, the prime time 7 p.m. kick instead of the Saturday morning kick.
Oh, that's great. So that means if my under 10-year-old soccer team makes it, then we're guaranteed to be playing Friday night in the tournament that weekend. It's good. It's good to know ahead of time. Not bitter.
Yeah.
Not bitter.
Not
World's
better.
best dad.
Yeah, I don't have anything. No advice. I can't advise you to skip a game. That's terrible. Yeah,
No,
you'll get more eyes on the game. You'll get more eyes on the game.
I'll skip a Friday night game because they're going to play at least 2, and so they would play one Friday night. If there's one Friday night, they would play the other one on Saturday, I think. So, yeah, I'll skip Friday. Already planning for it. Go book your hotel rooms now, Red Raiders.
All right, 3-point watch. Texas Tech has hit their 16th 3. They're now 2 away.
Sir, a 16th 3 has been hit in the Waco Gymnasium, where the Waco Bears play.
Waco Bears. Texas Tech up 25 points on a 9-0 run for the last 2.5 minutes. Baylor scoreless in the last 3 minutes. Shooting 67% from 3 and 64% from the field. And 80%. There are only 4 or 5 from the charity stripe. They've only attempted 5 free throws in this game, but when you're shooting so many threes, you're probably not going to shoot a whole lot of free throws.
Yeah, let's see. Points in paint, 11. No, it's 26. How's that? Wow. That was points off turnovers was 11. Tech has 80 points and 26 of them are in the paint. That's really surprising to me.
The rest of them are going to be threes.
Yeah, they are, apparently.
So no mid-range jumpers.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, the last thing, AP Top 25, the final poll was finally released. Texas Tech finishes the season at number 7. Other Big 12 teams, BYU at 11, Utah at 14, Houston 22, TCU 25. So Texas, the state of Texas, ended up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5, if not 6 top 25 teams.
Yeah, because UNT's in there too.
Because UNT, they had 6 from the state of Texas. Texas A&M finished 8th. Texas Longhorns finished 12th. So
hang the
Texas
banner.
Tech,
best team in Texas.
Texas, the state champs. And then the preseason poll for 2026 also has Texas Tech at 7. Based on who knows what, but because it has Indiana at like 5 or 6 too.
It's going to be tough for me to think they're not going to be right back in it next year, despite not having the Heisman winner back. But goodness, I feel like they could figure something out.
Yeah. So to that point, let's talk about rosters next year, right? First, we'll talk about Texas Tech, but Indiana is always going to be in that conversation. We talk about what teams are going to look like next season. You got a short window here for those, I say short, 5-day window for those that played in the title game last night, Miami and Indiana. Currently, as when I checked it this afternoon, Texas Tech was number 1 with a number 1 ranked portal class, index score of 51. I think Indiana was 2 with a score of 47. So there's a little bit of a gap there. What that means for Texas Tech, you've got 20 incoming players with an average ranking of 73 and 21 outgoing players with an average rank of under 64.5. So you're about even on number of players in and out, but the quality of players coming in quite a bit higher than those going out. And that's what's going to lead to your index score being what it was. Obviously, that'll fluctuate as you add more players, as more teams, more guys leave, or every team continues to add or lose guys to the portal. But currently, I guess since we last recorded, Texas Tech has had 2 outgoing transfer portal guys commit. And Chapman Lewis, he is headed up to Logan, Utah to play at Utah State. And then your wide receiver, Preston Harrison, committed to Howard Payne. And I'm not ashamed to admit, when I saw the logo on On3, I didn't know what it was. I had to look it up. And even then I was like, what? It wasn't working. It wasn't pulling up for me. So I had to do a deep dive on what HP football programs were. So, and then the other outgoing transfer news that was there was Roy Alexander did. Sorry?
I think I'm on a delay. I've got some issues here. I was asking if Howard Payne was in Brownwood. My bad. And it probably was like 30 seconds after you stopped talking about them.
Howard Payne University. Yellow Jackets. They are the American Southwest Conference, Brownwood Coliseum. So, yeah. They're in Brownwood.
There we go. I don't know much, but I knew that.
Yeah, and then Roy Alexander did get a medical redshirt waiver granted, so he has another year of eligibility to go out and play somewhere else. When you start seeing those waivers coming out, you know that you've got waivers and appeals out there for Skylar Go Howard. Oh, I was blank on his name. Like I was getting so many other names mixed in there. Initial ruling was not in your favor, but like I said, you've got appeals out. So waiting for a final word on that. I don't know if you'll hear a final word or if he'll just quietly just announce he's going to go, or he probably wouldn't quietly announce. He'd make the announcement that he's declaring for the draft, which would be fantastic for him. I'm not going to like, it would be not the worst thing, but like, obviously as a Texas Tech fan, I would love to have him back. But if his college days are over, then absolutely go try to play professionally. But that's the last thing that I guess we're kind of waiting on. Well, the other thing I was waiting on was to hear an official announcement from AJ Holmes. We didn't get a run it back type of tweet, but we also didn't get a portal announcement tweet either. So as far as everybody's concerned, AJ Holmes will be coming back, which is a big relief.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting him to leave, and I hadn't heard that he was planning on or considering leaving, but you never know. But definitely there was a sigh of relief when that portal window closed. There was no announcement, no word that he was gone. So love that. And then since we last recorded, like I said, you've added 3. I think we talked about Malcolm Summons and Corey Platt last time, but then you got the Tulsa quarterback, Kirk Francis, that announced his commitment. He only played a handful of games last season, but this would be definitely a depth piece to add to your quarterback room. Love that you got some experience there, similar to how you added Mitch Griffiths last season. Pretty similar build to 6'1", 200. In 3 games last year, it was 60% completion percentage, almost 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had a concussion, or sustained a concussion versus in a game versus New Mexico State. And then before he came back, he was just kind of passed up on the depth chart and never quite made it back. His 2 seasons at Tulsa, he completed about 60% of his passes, just over 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. And then you added an interior offensive lineman from Louisville, Jordan Church, 6'4", 310. So he's a big dude. You're not going to have that that dip in the offensive line height that you had with your right guard. I'm so terrible at names tonight. I can't think of his name. Sorry. But with his eligibility, it's a thought that you will have multiple years with him, or could possibly have multiple years. Then his addition gives you the flexibility to have 4 guys competing for the 3 interior spots with Jordan Church, Cash Cleveland, Sheridan Wilson, and Hunter Zambrano all there. It sounds like Cleveland and Wilson can play guard or center. Sorry. Yeah. And then Church and Zambrano would be more your guards that wouldn't rotate in towards the center. But at the very least, you've got quality depth there. He was a contributor there, a starter for Louisville, and definitely a piece to add to your offensive front. And then you flipped a commitment from Virginia and edge Jamond Mathis, edge player Jamond Mathis from Kent State, played against you this season. 6'3", 235 from the state of Missouri. This season, 28 tackles, 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, and 3 passes broken up. So you've added 1, 2, 3, 4 edge players in this class. While you've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as a lost, like on the outgoing portal and the you exhausted eligibility. So 5 edge players that were on your roster are no longer, and you've got 4 coming in. So if you're ever concerned or thinking about like, why are we taking so many edge guys? It's because you're trying to go 1 for 1 and have the team room, the position room be as full as it was this past season. Basketball update. 3, number 17 has been made. 4 minutes to go.
Sarah 17th 3 has been.
Book it.
Yep. 17
87.
of 26. Only 65% right now from 3. So pick it up, guys.
Oh, and Baylor's on a little 6-0 run in the last 30 seconds. But is 87-63 with 3:30 to go. All right, and then we had touched on rumored connections or favorites or targets. Last we talked about was edge Wendell Gregory from Oklahoma State. He has since committed and signed with Kansas State. You are heavily involved with the guy from Missouri, Damon Wilson. This would be a big-time ad, a starter piece that would for sure look to, take over one of those Romello Height, David Bailey starter spots. Not that he would be replacing their production because they were just phenomenal, but that would be the intent there to go after a starter. So I mentioned Texas Tech is the number 1 national portal class. Obviously, it's first in the Big 12. You've got 20 guys coming in. We'll go quickly through the rest of the Big 12. Houston is the number 2 in the Big 12. They've got 17 coming in. Some of their top gets an offensive lineman, Anthony Boswell, Shadre Hurst, and then running back Mekhi Hughes, who was most recently from Oregon, but did come from Tulane under Fritz. BYU is third at only 8 guys. So that goes to the quality of the guys they're adding. If they're third in the conference but only have 8, you're 20. They don't have any 4 stars. So maybe just throw out exactly what I just said. But Cade Ulaave from Cal, an offensive lineman, Paki Finau, not related to Tony, and a tight end from USC, Walker Lyons. West Virginia, this is one of those groups that's adding just a ton of players, 32. Their top gets running back from Cam Cook from Jacksonville State, Teron Francis, who's a wide receiver from LSU, and then a Oregon edge rusher, and Toby Hastrup. Oklahoma State is 5th. They've added 48. That's just an unreal number to consider. Top gets a handful of guys from UNT. And I say a handful kind of facetiously. They're transplanting a big chunk of the UNT roster up to Stillwater. But their top guys, running back Caleb Hawkins, it's actually their highest rated guy, then Drew Mestamaker, and then wide receiver Wyatt Young. Colorado, another team that's adding a bunch. They come in at number 6. They've got 40 guys. Looks like they're adding, some help along the defensive line. Ezra Christensen from Mexico State and Santana Hopper from Tulane. And then one of your wide receiver targets, DeAndre Moore, is headed out to to be a Buffalo. Arizona, no 4-star. I'm not going to go through their players. They're adding 15. TCU is 8th, adding 9 guys. They're adding a bunch of guys from around the conference. Noah McKinney, offensive lineman from Oklahoma State. Cheta Ofili, obviously from Texas Tech. They got the quarterback from Harvard we had mentioned, Jaden Craig. They lost Josh Hoover up to Indiana. UCF is number 9 in the conference at 28 guys coming in. They don't have a 4-star. but they've got a couple of guys from the Power Four. Duke Watson is a running back from Louisville, and then edge rusher LeJesse Harold from Florida State. Arizona State, we talked about their wide receiver transfer class, but they are only 10th in the conference here, adding 25. They got Omarion Miller from Colorado and Reed Harris from Boston College, and then they got the quarterback from Kentucky, Cutter Boley. Baylor at 11, 22 guys coming in. This is a lot to do with DJ Lagway. It does look like he's officially going to sign or has signed finally out of Florida. And then Daniel Cobbs, Kansas State, Gavin Freeman from Oklahoma State, guys we would have heard of and seen. Kansas bringing in 30 guys, but no 4-star. Running back Dylan Edwards from Kansas State and former Tech player and Tulane player Trevon McAlpine going to be a Jayhawk. Cincinnati at 14. Their top guy, Michael, I had to look this one up too. He's an edge rusher, Thomas Johnson from North Carolina Central. Never heard of them before. And then Cade Walford, the receiver from Kent State. So you saw him this season early on. Utah, 14th in the conference at 12. The one thing I want to point out here, they've got an offensive line commit from Ohio State, Isaiah Kima, from Friendship. His dad, Troy, was on the staff at Texas Tech as the Associate Athletics Director for Player Development. Out of high school, he committed to Oklahoma State, served a 2-year mission for the LDS Church in New Zealand, and then came back and was playing or was on the roster for Ohio State, but is now going to go to Utah. Kansas State is at 15. What I found interesting, so they're adding 26 guys, top guys, Wendell Gregory and Elijah Hill from Kennesaw State. But they've got a lot of Power 4 guys. So theirs were more like you're at a Power 4. Their approach seemed to be you were at a Power 4 school, we're going to bring you in. Whereas a lot of other schools are going after maybe more diamonds in the rough. But the schools they were pulling from Oklahoma State, Virginia, Maryland, Georgia, Missouri, Texas A&M, Auburn, Cincinnati, Kentucky, Illinois, Oregon. Not as many group of 5 or lower level guys on their roster class, but they are 15th in the conference. And obviously rounding out the rest of it would be Iowa State. They're adding 44 guys. And a lot like Oklahoma State, they're lifting a great number of players from their new head coach's former school, Washington State, transplanting them to Ames, Iowa. But they are getting Zane Flores, quarterback from Oklahoma State. So
I cannot believe Oklahoma State had to sign 48 guys.
Yeah. Iowa State not that far behind with 44.
I mean, coaching changes, yeah. Colorado with 40, no coaching change there. It just, man, that's a lot. It's a lot of turnover.
Unbelievable now. I mean, think about like having to, like it's weird for us year to year to go to like the spring game with like a roster in your hand. Like, okay, I'm going to figure out who those guys are, what their numbers are. But to legitimately, like, I don't know who half of our roster is. They're new. Like you get that same half my roster is new feeling from basketball, but it's a roster of 13 guys.
Yeah, it's a little the scale is
105.
Yeah. Yes, but in credit to Oklahoma State to have 48 new players and still rank 5th in the Big 12 on the rankings or the ratings. I mean it's a lot of guys you've got to get that are fairly highly sought after to get up to that point. You know, BYU's in 3rd place, but they only got 8.
Yep.
So they were able to get some really cream of the crop kind of guys, just 8 of them. But when you get 48 and you're only 2 places down, I'm not going to say I'm worried, but I am #noticing.
And I think,
of course, I wonder how many of those came from Denton, Texas, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think a lot of what BYU's number 3 ranking there is, I don't think they lost much, if any at all. So Whereas like Texas Tech is almost like they're technically -1 and guys coming in versus guys going out. I mean, BYU is +8 or +7 or whatever it might be. So that may be why they're, third in the conference, but don't have any 4-star guys coming in. So even though the portal window has closed, we'll get guys that are uncommitted still finding out where they're going. Obviously, the biggest names, you've got, Jordan Seaton, the offensive lineman from Colorado. I don't think Texas Tech is in that at all, but just a name that you're going to hear a lot from. Damon Wilson, the edge from Missouri, you will, and then any guys that may be entering from Miami or Indiana. You did see Alberto Mendoza hit the portal and immediately signed with Georgia Tech today. You may get some of that as well. Some more of that. Michael, basketball game just went final. Did not hit number 18. He hit 17 again. You ended the game not hitting a field goal for the last 2.5 minutes of the game. That's not what you want to see when you want an 18th three. But you won by 19, so you probably weren't trying to shoot a lot of threes. You had a lot of free throws there. You finished shooting 9 of 11. So,
yeah, and like you mentioned before, I think they only shot 2 in the first half.
Let's see. Yeah, they were 8 of 9 in the second half, so they were 1 of 2 in the first. And 14 of 19 from 3 in the first half. 3 of 8 from the second half. All right. So, Texas Tech is victorious tonight, taking down the Waco Bears, Baylor Bears, 92-73. Coming off a big win this past weekend versus number 9 BYU at home. They were 15-1, 3-0 in Big 12 play. You beat them 84-71. There was a stretch there, Michael, in like it was really close back and forth in the first half. Then BYU went on a little bit of a run. And look, you were figuring some things out defensively versus AJ DeBanza. But then Rob Wright's like, you know what? It's fine. I'm going to more than make up for that. And then whether it was defensively, you found something out, or, he jammed his finger, dislocated it or something. He had to go to the bench for a second to get that worked on and taped up and back out. But when he had the finger issue and came back, that's when your run to retake the lead and to put the game away started. I think you had gone on a drought of like 21-4 for BYU. They were down 9 and then went up 9, or however that math works out. And then you went on your own like 16-2, 16-4 run to retake it and then to put some separation there. JT Toppin, man, he's just like, he's one of the best players in college basketball this year. And he's getting better, or he's adding more things. Like he's going into the BYU game, I think he had made 1 3 or going into the Utah game, I think he had made 1 3.
Yeah, it was the Utah game. I think he decided to start shooting threes against schools from the state of Utah.
Yeah, I think
he went be really successful
4.
at it. Yeah.
I think he went 3 for 4 in both of those games. He was he did not attempt a 3-pointer tonight. But he did finish 6 of 10 from the field and added a free throw for 13 points. Nope, sorry, that's second half only. He was 10 of 16 from the field and 2 of 3 from the free throw line for 22 points tonight. Let me pull up the box score from Saturday versus BYU.
Well, for Toppin, he and Anderson played all 40 minutes.
Yeah,
he was 11 of 18 from the field, including 3 of 4 from 3. He didn't miss a lot.
3 free throws. He was 2 of 3 from the charity stripe, 13 rebounds. So I don't know how many games in a row that is for a double-double. I think he was 31 and 13 versus Utah. He's 27 and 13 versus BYU. So he's a big fan of playing against the schools from Utah. Tonight, he was 22 and 3. Did he only have 3 rebounds? No. He had 4 rebounds tonight. So did not have a double-double tonight. But you got lots of.
Well, it's hard to rebound when your teammates don't miss.
Yeah. You got lots of production from around him. The thing that I think concerns me is just how thin the rotation is, and it may be that way. You see teams do this in the tournament at the end of the season, but I think as you're anticipating the return of Luke Bamboye, the rotation may expand a little bit when he's back. You did get minutes from Mariel Okuntak tonight. He played 5. Tyree Bryan played 28. And then Horner, Nolan Groves, Jack Francis played a combined 6 minutes. But Saturday versus BYU, like you said, JT Toppin and Christian Anderson, they played 40. Lawan Watson, Jalen Petty played 36. Donovan Atwell played 38. Lawan Watts had a 20 on his own. It says 2 for 4 from 3. Those 2 threes he hit felt like they were just monumental. And maybe it was at the time it was in that run as you were retaking the lead and building out the lead there late in the second half. But there were like 2 from Watts. And then I think Anderson hit one of his 4 threes around that same span in the game. And you just took over and then just never looked back. He ended up winning that game 84-71. You, like I said, held Debanza in the second half. I don't know the first half, second half splits. He played 32 minutes, finished with 13 points and 3 rebounds. Saunders was a problem. Rob Wright was just a menace. He finished in 38 minutes. He played a lot of minutes, so did Saunders. But Wright, 38 minutes, 28 points. 9 of 17 from the field. 9 is perfect from the free throw line. As a team, they were 12 of 14. The only player that missed was Boop, and he went 0 for 2. So,
yeah, I something that impressed me. I mean, a lot of things impressed me that game, but during that run, especially, Texas Tech was grabbing rebounds, and they had guys that had, as you pointed out, the starters averaged 37 and a half minutes.
Yeah,
the entire game, and they're still out there grabbing rebounds. I think, I mean, it was really close. Tech ended up with 1 more rebound than BYU did, but I just felt like a lot of that ground was made up during that. And I think that run, if I was trying to look it up as we were talking, I think it ended up something ridiculous like 30-6. Is that right? Is that even possible? I'm trying to find that. I'm going to see if it's in the the notes from Texas Tech, because I thought I saw something insane on that.
let me see if I can pull it up on the stat broadcast, because they have an edge. Wow, I was reading a comment. They have a run tracker.
Okay, here it is. Texas Tech outscored their opponent 32-10 in the final 8 minutes. That was it. So I exaggerated slightly. Well, actually, I don't know. 30-6 might have been part of that run. I don't know. But yeah, final 8 minutes, Texas Tech scored 32 to their 10. And it's exactly what you pointed out. A closing run that started with a Watts 3-pointer to stop an 8-0 run by BYU. And finished with Tech making its final 7 shots. Just dominating. And then that heater just kept going. Like they just picked up right where they left off in Waco tonight. I have underestimated this team when they're hitting. When they're hitting shots, even when there's only like 6 3/4 of them in the rotation, not shots, players, that's really, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. Looking at the runs here, not the run. Oh yeah, the runs. The game was tied at 63 with 6 minutes to go. And then Debanza hit a layup to go up to Toppin hit a 3. So at 5:29, you retake the lead 66-65. And then you had you went on a, let's see, 15-0 run. No, Rob Wright hit a jumper at 2:30 left. So a 15-2 run there between 6 minutes to go and a free throw at 34 seconds to go. 5.5 minutes stretch there. They hit 1 field goal. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tech was there for every rebound, it seemed like.
Yep. All right. So then, the concern there is depth and the rotation being fairly thin. You'll get hopefully Bamboye back here pretty soon. You'll work him back in. You've got Houston coming up this weekend. Back in Lubbock at home. You are hosting College Game Day. First team school to do this, to host both football and basketball game day since Kansas did it in like 22, 23 or whatever it was. But that was back when the football game days were going for more of the stories than like just the biggest games in the SEC. So it's been a while since any team has done it, and you'll have done it, the first time in 3 years. They are 17-1, 5-0 in Big 12 play. Haslametrics, as of earlier today, has this as a narrow 2-point victory for Houston. It's hard to argue that with how just fantastic Houston is, but if you're getting some additional contributors and you get the home crowd cooking, this could absolutely go in your favor. If not, the Big 12 schedule is just absolutely ridiculous. You would bounce back the following Tuesday. Let me pull that up exactly.
Saturday. You get a week off after Houston.
You do get the midweek off after Houston. So if you don't get Bamboye back this weekend versus Houston, then you have a great shot at getting him back on the road in Orlando versus UCF. So the 31st on the road versus UCF, and then Monday the 2nd, home versus Kansas. Kansas is maybe starting to turn it around a little bit, but they've not been the Kansas of old. And then on the road Sunday at West Virginia, the 8th, home versus Colorado, who did a great job at taking away a 25-point lead and making it very scary there in Boulder. But you bring that team back to Lubbock on the 11th. And then you go to Arizona for 2 straight. The 14th at Arizona, 17th at Arizona State, home versus Kansas State, home versus Cincinnati, at Iowa State, home versus TCU, at BYU. So no rest there to end this season. So, Lady Raiders, let's talk about that real quick. They hit the road. They took on Kansas State, a 500 Kansas State team, and unfortunately lost their first game of the season, 65-59.
Yes, I unfortunately was unable to watch this game. We were in the Metroplex on the weekend, going out and doing stuff with the family, so I didn't get to see that. Fortunately, I got to watch quite a bit of the Red Raider game that night against BYU, but I kept up with it a little bit and kind of went back to look and see if what I read and heard was accurate. But what I kept seeing is like, man, they just can't grab a rebound. I thought, well, okay, maybe it's not that bad. No, it was that bad. So Texas Tech, like you said, they fall 59 to, what was it, 66, 65 to Kansas State. Kansas State had 46 rebounds to Texas Tech's 20. Texas Tech had 3 offensive rebounds on the day. They also had 10 turnovers on the day. It turned Kansas over 18 times, but that just seems to be the story of the game for me. Had a couple of Lady Raiders scoring well. Snetta Collins with 12, Jada Malone had 15, Maupin, of course, had 18. But that was kind of it. The rest of the scores were in double digits, with 6 being the highest. So didn't see a lot of help from Bristow. She didn't even take very many shots. I think she only took 2 shots the entire game, played 18 minutes. I'm not really sure what was going on there, but would like to see her be more aggressive. They're better when she is. But, Nunez uncharacteristically off 0 for 4 on the day. So credit to Kansas State coming in, not being too worried about a 19-0 team and getting a win on the road. But I feel like I'm not feeling any worse about this team. I think it's almost, I don't want to say good, but okay, the loss is over with. Let's play basketball. Let's just keep going. And so they have a good chance to do just that. They will be in Utah this week. They will be at BYU Wednesday night, 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. BYU is 3-3 in the Big 12, so a chance to get a win on the road before they head to Utah on Saturday, who's 5-2 in the Big 12. Kind of, I think, surprising people a little bit, and they were receiving some votes in the AP poll this week too. So Saturday, 6 p.m. ESPN Plus at Utah, and then come back home to Lubbock Wednesday, January 28th, versus an Iowa State team that's really kind of fallen off here. They were 14-0 heading into Big 12 play and have no, though that's not right. The math's not right. They were 12-0. But since Big 12 play started, they are 2-5 in the conference and actually dropped out of the top 25 this week after being in the top 10 and possibly the top 5. I don't remember. I didn't keep up with it that closely, to be honest with you. But anyway, Iowa State's coming to Lubbock on Wednesday, the 28th. That'll also be at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. And so, speaking of the top 25 rankings, a few changes here and there. TCU moved from 10 to 9. Texas Tech moved from 17 to 19 after their loss, which I'm kind of surprised by. It seems like the voters have been very trepidatious on the Lady Raiders. I'm surprised they didn't fall into the 20s. Baylor went from 18 to 14. West Virginia, who Texas Tech beat on the road in a very close game against a team that played really good defense, finally kind of getting a ranking that I think they deserved for probably a couple weeks. They've been receiving votes for a while. So anyway, previously non-ranked West Virginia makes their first appearance at number 22. And as we mentioned, Iowa State, who was 19, is now out. And receiving votes is Oklahoma State, Iowa State, still in the mix, and then Utah.
All right. Let's talk about softball and baseball real quick.
Okay.
So bring it up because one, the softball season is around the corner. They are 2 weeks out from their first action. We mentioned the schedule, but they've had some preseason accolades rolling in. They earned another preseason number 1 in the ESPN USA softball preseason poll, and they are number 2 in the D1 softball poll. You should remember, but they finished a runner-up in 2025, and then signed, following up that World Series Classic versus Texas, the number 1 transfer portal class. And they have 6 players ranked in D1 softball's top 100 players, including number 1. That's obviously Nyjah Kennedy, number 1, Maya Davis, 21. Sorry, Kennedy, number 1, Maya Davis, 21. Taylor Pinnell, 32. Caitlin Terry, 41. Mia Williams, 65. Lauren Allred, 76. Their start to their schedule is a McNeese tournament at McNeese State the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Sorry, the games are 5th, 6th, and 7th. They roll straight in from that from Louisiana over to College Station for a tournament. Sorry, I'm all over the place. The McNeese tournament is 5th and 6th. The Texas A&M tournament is the 7th and 8th, but they play 3 games each. And then they will go to the Shriners Children's Clearwater Invitational in Clearwater, Florida to play 6. So I mentioned this top of the show, between February 5th and February 15th, 10 days, they will play 10 games, including a stretch between the 9th, 10th, 11th, where they don't play any games at all.
Yeah, and there will be 4 days with double headers.
Yep. Now, mechanically, structurally, like softball players are able to manage that kind of schedule a lot better than baseball players.
Built different.
They are built different. Let's not lie about it. Let's not even try to sugarcoat that. You will get some double headers in baseball, but softball's like, let's do it every weekend. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'll, like I said, but by the time that Texas Tech baseball team finishes their 3rd game, the softball team will have played their 10th. Baseball, their first pitch will be on the 13th. They have started their spring practices. I'm sure you've noticed some of the content coming out of that. They've got 3 players named to Perfect Game's top 100 list, including on the top freshman list, Lincoln Garcia was 93, and then Logan Hughes was 31, and Robin Villeneuve 77. They start off a very tough schedule there in the Metroplex, the Shriners Children's College Showdown, OU, Vanderbilt, Arkansas.
Oh, and 3. It's fine.
It's going to be difficult. All right. NFL playoffs, man, they have been so very entertaining from a casual NFL fan. I'm taking in just about every game. The divisional round was this past weekend. Seahawks at the 49, not at the 49ers. Seahawks and 49ers. Seahawks BTA 41-6.
Yeah, didn't they return the kickoff to start the game?
Opening kickoff.
Yeah,
So,
that was one of those games. Like I said, we were, running around Dallas this weekend, and that game started, and I turned it on, and it was like 17-0. What? It wasn't even the end of the first quarter. What happened? What did I miss? Oh my gosh! So I kind of checked out after that.
Yep. Bears Rams. Rams ended up winning this one 20-17 in overtime. That was heartbreaking for the Bears to tie it on a just absolute ridiculous Hail Mary type of completion touchdown there, and then go into overtime and to lose it the way they did.
He basically threw that flat-footed 50 yards in the air.
Yeah,
just kind of even going backwards. Just an incredible throw.
So it will be the Rams and the Seahawks playing for the NFC crown for a spot in the Super Bowl. AFC side, the Broncos, our Broncos, Michael, or Davis Webb led quarterback Broncos, although they will be without their starting quarterback. This will be really real test of Davis Webb's coaching ability, who he can get ready for the next round. They took down the Bills 33-30 in overtime. And
also
will be
a real
without
test of Texas Tech fandom to see Jarrett Stidham lead the Broncos via, like, what do you do? Do you root for Stidham or do you root for Webb? What happens? So some people have just some decisions to make.
Yeah. But they'll be taking on the Patriots, so that's easy to root for the Broncos for me.
Stidham's old team.
Yep. Patriots took care of the Texans in the snow up there in Foxborough. I guess it was rain first, then snow. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It was until it actually started to snow, the first mix, it was a very ugly game. I don't know if you watched it, Michael, but it was like 8 combined turnovers. The teams couldn't hold on to the ball, couldn't throw it. Fumbles galore.
Yeah,
strip sacks.
I tuned in right when this is how casual I am. When Houston's running back fumbled, and they said, "Oh man, that's the 5th fumble of the game for the Texans." And I saw the weather conditions and assumed, "Oh man, well that's probably crazy fumbles and whatnot." No, 4 Stroud interceptions prior to that fumble. Oh, okay.
Cheeks.
Well, that changes my perspective of it a little bit.
And the Patriots only put up 28 points on 5 turnovers.
Yeah, that Houston defense is nuts. And I think one of the
was nuts.
Wasn't one of the no, I think I'm mixing up with the national championship. Indiana blocked a punt and
and fell on it for a touchdown.
Yeah, fell on it for a touchdown. I kind of thought the Patriots did something like that too. Or maybe they had a pick six.
I don't think six, or they had a big man fumble recovery return that got close at least.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think their offense truly scored 28 points on Houston. Is all I'm getting at.
No, but you got the Broncos and the Patriots for the AFC title. But the Broncos will be without Bo Nix. So I don't like those options. Those odds for the Broncos, but it's a 1-2 matchup on the AFC side versus the 1-5 matchup on the NFC side. Championship Sunday will be this Sunday. AFC will go first, 2 p.m. on CBS, NFC 5:30 on Fox to set up the Super Bowl on the 8th in Levi's Stadium. So it's a good thing the 49ers lost. Otherwise, they would have been playing at home or could have had a shot to play at home.
That's a shame. It's a shame they lost so poorly, too. Just, I mean, you hate to see it.
Did they even belong, Michael? Did they belong in the playoffs?
What's this number 5 team making it in their bracket? Was that a weak bracket?
Untested.
I thought LA teams couldn't play in the snow. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. You want to wrap this up with what we learned?
Sure, man.
All right. I'll go first. This is gonna sound probably a little iffy. Old man, get off my lawn type of thing. Most mornings, my air quotes workout is a very brisk walk, between 45 and 60 minutes, depending on how early I get up. Every now and then I will come across a majority female social running club that I will share the track with. So what I do is I walk to the middle school, and they have a track around their football field, and I'll do a certain number of laps depending on my time and walk back. Most of the time it's 7 laps I think I end up doing, based purely on how much time I have left before I need to get home, make breakfast, shower, get kids up and ready for school. I would love to do 8 laps. But also, if I do 7 laps, I also hit the rest of the mile on the walk back. Okay. Anyways, so there's this running club that more than welcome. Like we share the track. I don't have a problem with them running on the track. It's when they finish, because they finished before me, then they just kind of congregate on the track. And this morning, so this is a middle school track. It has 4 lanes. I will use each lane to track what number lap I'm on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, right? They finished. That was on my 3rd lap. I had 4 more to go. They were blocking 3 lanes in the little area of the track they were on. Which, like, okay, big deal. They knew that they were blocking the track because I was not the only other person on the track that had to go around them. They could have just taken a couple steps off of the track, or they could have moved down to, like, the sprinter lanes. They have the extra little.
Yeah.
They could have done that. They did not. They made eye contact with me every time I passed. Did not move. Like how dense can you be? Like, we're sharing the track here. Just get out of the way. You're no longer using it to exercise. You're now using it to socialize. It's fine to socialize. That's part of the allure of being in a social running club. I get that. Get out of the way of the people that want to still use the track.
Or at least confine it to 2 lanes or something, or just
Or when you realize you're blocking people. Oh, sorry. Let me scoot over.
yeah. Be
It
a little considerate. That's all.
Like, and it wasn't even like they were in a circle. They were like facing each other. They had like 2 people with their backs to people oncoming, like, and they wouldn't move. Get out the way.
Just start yelling track. Track, track, track. Just start yelling it from like 50 yards away.
Yeah.
Get an air horn.
All right, so I have one more, and it looks like it ties into one that you have.
Yours made me think of something. So you go first.
Okay, so I came across this TikTok creator that was sharing his day in the life, but he's a self-proclaimed soda addict. I was like, all right, well, let's see what you get. Let's check the numbers. Let's check the receipts. And he started off talking about, like, he had to make a run to Kroger on the day they had the sale. For whatever reason, Kroger, this is maybe a surprise to the people that aren't aware of, like, Utah culture. He was in Utah. It was buy 2 get 3 free. I was like, dude, sign me up for those kinds of sales. Like, I don't see those kinds of sales.
It's like you're making money.
Sales we get at, like, HEB, which are rare. It's like 3 for $14 or whatever. So you're getting, $5 or $6 off. Anyways, so the dude's loading up. He's got like 30 packs of a couple different sodas. He said I don't know if he was being serious, but he said he bought this new SUV to help transport all the soda he buys. And then he goes through and like tracks how many sodas he drinks in a day based on the size of the cup or the number of cans he goes through. And he said this wasn't a particularly heavy soda drinking day. He had 5 gallons.
Gallons? And it was just like a
he works from home. He was going like 3 and 4 cans at a time. And every time he went to the thing. Also, this is what like really got me. I was like,
gallons?
Gallons. He was at, like, whatever that math is, 600 ounces.
Yeah,
he also has
128 ounces for a gallon, right? So
yeah, and it was like just under 5, but like between 4.5 and 5 gallons.
53 cans of Coke.
The equivalent of it, yeah. I'm telling you, dude. Like, he also
Diet
had
Coke,
like
at least.
Yeah. They were diet or zero.
He's
for all the different varieties, all the different, like,
really unique bladder cancer,
kidney issues. I don't know. He's certainly testing the research that says, hey, like aspartame is really not that bad for you until you have 20 cans a day for a prolonged amount of time. Like this dude's doing it. He's going to be the test case. My occasional 3 to 4 cans a day, I would never get to 20 cans. 2, this dude's putting away 50. He also has like an in-home soda fountain too that he can dial in. Like he's got 6 different syrups and he mixes up. It's absurd.
The dude, okay, there's no. He obviously works from home because he spends half his time in the bathroom
pouring and drinking sodas. Yeah.
Yeah, no employer would be like, oh gosh, he's gone to the bathroom 17 times before lunch.
He would single-handedly shut down the. We no longer provide sodas for the office employees.
Yeah. Or even if there was like a soda machine, they're like, we can't. No, we're not going to have the guy come restock this. Every 23 hours.
He also did a how much he spent in a day at Disney drinking soda like this. It was hundreds of dollars just on soda.
Skill issue. You got to find the refills.
Yeah, no, he was doing, most of them were bottles, which I think are I think he said they were $4 or $5 a piece.
This is just like, okay, I would be very interested in this too, but it's also very alarming.
So yeah, part of this is like aspirational. Like, yeah, I would love to get to that level. Like, I have that much soda. I have a in-home fountain. That would be fantastic. I would probably only have like 2 bibs on it and 2 flavors.
Which would be question.
Okay, so Dr. Pepper Zero would for sure be one of them. The second one, it may rotate between like a flavored Dr. Pepper Zero or like a Coke Zero type of alternate. Like I need like a different flavor. I can't just drink Dr. Pepper Zero 100% of the time, all day, every day. I need some variety. But that second one would rotate. I would probably have a couple of different flavors that I would run through. If you had a soda fountain, Michael, what would you have?
Big Red and Pepsi.
Wow. Okay.
And okay, well, those would be my first 2. But then I would throw in, if I could somehow make a deal to get the same Coca-Cola and Sprite that McDonald's does, then I would have 4. I would have those 4. And I really should technically have a diet one. But and that's where I was going. We'll get to this, but yeah, I'd probably have a 5th one. It'd be a rotating diet soda.
So the thing with the McDonald's ones, it's based on how much carbonated water and syrup is in the mix. You can dial those in yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would, brother.
Also,
drinking a Sprite at my house would be like, oh,
that is sharp.
Wow. Did you put rubbing alcohol in there? That's great. That hit right. That hit just right.
Being a Big Red fan and a Texan that probably frequents HEB, they have a Big Red soda, right?
Yes, and I've actually, what?
And they have a zero sugars version of it.
I've tried Dublin's. Dublin has a red soda that's pretty darn tasty too.
Yeah, so HEB's version is called Wild Red, and they have a zero sugar version of it.
It's not called Large Red or Grande Red, Grande Rojo.
Wild.
Well, I'd try it. I would try it. I'm an equal opportunity red cream soda, folks.
What even is that flavor? Just cream soda?
It's
cream soda and what?
It's Red 40. Red dye number 5 or whatever. Okay, so what you said reminded me of this weekend when we were out and about. This was kind of our big present for our 9-year-old for Christmas was to take her to Dallas and do some fun things. And we went to Meow Wolf. We went to the video game museum, which is pretty cool. We took her to places that we knew she would like to eat or that we thought would be interesting. And so all this to say, because this will lead into my next, what did I learn too? But one day she just decided she wanted a burrito. Like, well, where can we go for lunch for a burrito? And Allison and I both instantly said, well, Freebirds. We should go to Freebirds because Lubbock doesn't have one anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you go there and you make your own. And of course, all she wanted was cheese and chicken on it. But hey, that's fine. Go to Freebirds. I needed a little pick me up that day. And thought, man, I usually don't get a soda, but I'm going to get one today so I can get some caffeine, get a little pick me up. And at the fountain, and I'm assuming because it's a Texas-based chain, they have Dr. Pepper Zero at the fountain.
You can find that at a couple places now.
Yeah, and I thought, excuse me, yeah, I'm not really looking for the extra calories. I'm already having a giant burrito. Let me get a diet soda. I usually my go-to diet is Coke Zero, and it's fine. I don't love it, but it's fine. That may have been the first time I'd ever had Dr. Pepper Zero, period.
Really?
But It was definitely the first time I'd had it from a fountain.
Mm-hmm.
And brother, I'm telling you something you already know. That stuff's pretty darn good. It doesn't really taste diet-y. I feel like I need to get... Oh, I tell you what else I'd have on my fountain. It'd be Code Red Mountain Dew. Absolutely be Code Red Mountain Dew. And they have a Code Red Zero. But anyway, Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. I've got to do some more investigative journalism there. And
it's up there, man.
It's good. I was surprised because, man, you go to a tech sporting event, probably half the time I get a bottle of Coke Zero. And now I'm like, man, it'd be so much better if it was Dr. Pepper Zero. So that's it. Like I said, these are things you already knew. But
remind us if you have like if you have a strong affiliation with any gas stations. Like, do you have one that you prefer, like a brand? Like, I have to go to Stripes. I have to go to Allsup's.
Allsup's for sure. I do like Stripes for sodas. And when we're traveling, when we're in the Metroplex, I'll go to Quick Trip just because I kind of know what they are, what they're about. Those are kind of like the ones that I frequent on purpose. The other ones are just Love's. I'll hit up Love's on purpose sometimes.
Can I cue you into something?
Please.
Circle K. Hold on.
Okay.
They have Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar on fountain. They're also cheap. Like, you can get a 44 ounce for $1. If you join their rewards program, they don't text you anything. They don't email you anything. It's now 80 cents for 44 ounces.
I have, out of a dumb principle, refused to set foot in a Circle K or a Toot and Totem since Lubbock decided that's all we needed a couple of years ago. And it's dumb. I'm the only one doing this. I think everyone in my family and everyone I know does. And why wouldn't you? Sure. There's one on the corner.
It's
there's one across the street from your house, and then there's one across the street from it. So you've got choices, but yeah, I maybe I should do that. I should find a Circle K, suck it up, get a Dr. Pepper Zero and a Snicker bar like an American, and just enjoy myself.
Yeah. So living in South Lubbock, they opened a Toot and Totem at 130th and University. And the first thing I noticed, they had a wall of different flavors of sunflower seeds. Like, this is dangerous. This is back when we were all in baseball. Go in there every week and get a new flavor. Then a Circle K opened up down the road at 130th in Indiana. And I didn't know their game. I wasn't familiar with it until a friend of mine told me, he's like, you got to go in there and get a Polar Pop. I was like, what? He's like, that's a drink. They're fountain drinks. He's like, I go in there and get a Dr. Pepper Zero. I was like, they have that on fountains, like at Circle K, they do. Like, oh man. And then I think last time we were there around Christmas, I realized I noticed they'd opened one at 114th and University. So they're getting even closer to you. They're encroaching on your neighborhood, Michael.
Oh, they are. Yeah, that's right next to the brand new Tractor Supply, which I still haven't been to.
You don't need any chickens?
No, I've legitimately wanted to go. This is old man talk coming at you right now, but I've really wanted to get to that new Tractor Supply. I just haven't made it. I haven't made it out there. And I'm not being like funny. Every time I drive by, I'm like, oh dang, I need to figure out a time to go in there, just wander around, see what they got.
Okay, so hand up. I also had similar thoughts when they were finishing construction. Maybe they were just opening about the time that we were moving out too. It's like, I want to go check that out because the one they had one in town, but it was like on 27, like on the way out of town. Like it was way out there. And I had been there to pick up a water tank once for my brother-in-law when he was building his house out in Abernathy. I'd never gone into the store. I just helped him pick up, their water tank. But
yeah, I don't work too far from that one, but I kind of forget about it. And then there for the longest time, the only one in Southwest Lubbock is almost in Wolfforth. It's practically in Wolfforth. And so, yeah, I legitimately drive by that Circle K and I ignore it, but I look at the Tractor Supply behind it and think, I should go in there. Now, Abilene growing up had Circle Ks and we liked them, but I can't remember what we liked about them. There was something mom or dad always really liked to get from there. And then they kind of went under, convenience stores are kind of a cycle. I don't know if somebody bought them out in the Abilene area or they became 7-Elevens or something. But I remember them then, and then they were just kind of gone from my life for 30 years, it seemed. And then now they are everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I did learn one other thing. Have you ever experienced hot pot?
Not yet. It seemed like there was an explosion of hot pot restaurants that opened up here in the Corpus Christi area that got everybody all fired up. And there's a huge rage about them down here. We have not gone yet.
So I know that you guys partake in the Asian cuisine quite a bit.
Yeah, we will probably go get. This is a stretch. We will probably go get HEB sushi tomorrow.
I'd only had hot pot once. I went to visit my friend in San Francisco, and so he's very familiar with it and knew what all to do, and we had a great time, and I really enjoyed it. And that was 15 years ago now, or something. Feels like that. Whether it was that long or not, I don't know. But that was another thing we thought for our daughter that she'd really enjoy, and she did. And that was a place that my wife looked up, and we went. It was in Frisco. I've got to find it. I cannot remember the name of it. Maybe Chocho Hot Pot? Yeah, it was Chocho. I think it's a chain too. So you might even check in Corpus. But for those of you who don't know, hot pot is kind of what it sounds like. They bring out a bowl of broth, and the way this place did it was different than what San Francisco did. Of course, San Francisco, that was well before COVID and whatnot. San Francisco, for the table, it was one big pot of broth that the entire table shared. And then what Chocho does is you have your individual pot of broth that's on its own little burner right in front of you. And then within that, you can pick two broths if you want. They have like a divider. So you can try, they had like 7 or 8 different broths you can get, and you could try 2 of them. So anyway, the gist of it is the way the one we went to it was like all you can eat. So you just pay one price, kind of like a Brazilian steakhouse, and they'll bring you as much meat as you want. And they bring that meat. I know, Spencer, you know all this stuff. This is for the listeners who don't.
No, I've never been. I need to know.
Okay, so at this place, it was all you can eat, and so they have a list of all the meats you can have, which is ranges from like beef short rib to prime rib to ribeye, pork shoulder, lamb. I forget what else it is. Anyway, so they freshly slice it and bring it out to you on these cold plates. And it's super thin. I mean, we're talking like you can almost read through it thin, because the gist of it is you take that piece of meat and you just drop it in your broth. And if it's beef or lamb or pork, 15 seconds, 20, something like that. And so you can just kind of cook the meat as you go, and you pull it back out. And man, I'm such a novice at this. Like I say, I've only done it twice, so total novice. But then on top of that, so they bring you that meat and the broth. You go and help yourself to the buffet of, like, they already have boiled eggs. They had boiled quail eggs, which my wife raved about. I just wasn't like, I don't know if I'm there. They had noodles. They had fresh noodles, 3 or 4 different kinds. They had seafood. You could get shrimp and scallops, and I think some crab. They had vegetables that you could put in the soup, and put that in there too and eat it too. So it's just kind of, you can kind of do whatever you want. They also had some dumplings. Of course, that has nothing to do with being hot pot, but it was a lot of fun, and it was really delicious and just a cool experience. So that was something I hadn't done in forever. The 3 of us did it. We all really enjoyed ourselves, and we're already looking to try to go another time. I think my wife has a girls trip. They were going to try to go to Houston this week, but then that weather is about to hit and kind of mess everything up. So that's been postponed, but she's talked to her friend and going to get some hot pot in Houston when they do get to do their trip.
Hey, speaking of a trip to Houston, so my hospital is a part of a larger division group that most of the rest of the hospitals sit in Houston. So we have a quarterly retreat there, and I went last summer for their first one. What would have been the Q4 retreat got essentially canceled because of travel restrictions. But Q1 is here in like 3 weeks. We have a suite the night before our retreat. So all day on the 11th, we'll be doing meetings and whatever. But on the 10th, there's a Rockets home game that we're all going to in the suite. Dinner, game, all that kind of fun stuff. So like,
who are they playing? Do you know?
No clue. I really
They just beat my Spurs tonight. I checked that while we were recording. I caught the very last end of it.
I'm just throwing it out there because it's like I'm cool. I'm gonna go watch a Rockets game
in a suite.
The Clippers.
Hey, say hello to Kawhi for me.
What?
Give him my love.
What is this schedule? They play the Clippers back to back, 10th and 11th.
I think sometimes the California teams will do that. They'll just kind of run through the state of Texas. It's like a rodeo road trip or something. I think that'll happen sometimes. They'll play Houston a couple times, Dallas, and San Antonio.
Yeah, well, so the Lakers will play in Houston the 16th and 18th of March. So yeah, they're back to back. Anyways, yeah. I do want to try the hot pot thing out. Like I said, we've got several of those restaurants that just opened up here in the Corpus Christi area. Had a comment come through from Tom T. Trex. He played baseball for King High School, was here in the area, graduated Tech in 78, invited walk-on pitcher twice at Tech under Cal Segrest.
Oh, cool, man.
That's cool. Definitely familiar with that high school, and I've heard the name Cal Segrest. I'm not like, I mentioned this. Relatively new Texas Tech fan. I say that. It's been almost 20 years now, which is ridiculous to think about. But it's really cool. I was never controlled enough to pitch, but I never played out of high school either. So don't get it twisted there. It's not
I last swung a bat competitively at 12 years old. Unless you count intramural softball at Texas Tech, which If you saw me play, you wouldn't.
All right. Let me look up where this is. This high school is off of Gullahar. And what is that road? Is that Airline? Why do the names all leave?
I hate that.
Staples. Okay. So I actually live off of Staples, but on the south side. Staples and Saratoga. And my office is off of, is between Staples and Alameda. So just a little bit of Corpus geography for one of our listeners. All right, man. You got anything else before you wrap this one up?
I think I've talked to you for the last 30 minutes, so we'll call it good.
Well, in true 23 personnel fashion, it was nothing but food. Except for complaining about people being on the track ahead of me. So, all right, that'll do it for us here at the 23 Personnel Podcast. We will be back next week to talk Super Bowl matchups, Big 12 basketball, start of softball season. But for Michael, I'm Spencer. Catch you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at Punt Suck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.